Hi guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome to a new episode. Today I want to talk to you about raising the standards of our thoughts, and that there's a difference between what other people don't know but you think all the time and what you actually don't think about. Like I had like all those things growing up and also all of my 20s, this thing of if people don't know it, it's not happening. Like I really believe that, meaning that I could beat myself up over certain things, but if I presented myself as completely fine with myself, then that was the truth, because it only mattered what kind of feedback you got back, in a way. If I obsessed over somebody, it didn't matter because that person didn't know. And I always had like those thoughts and never really thought anything about it. That was way before I really realized how much influence our thoughts have on our reality, and influence to such a degree that actually the main thing that really transforms it, that really sets us on our path, that really determines how we develop and what direction we develop and all of those things. And it's really important to kind of like take a step back and to really think about what kind of thoughts you leave in your head or you allow in your head. And that can start from just kind of being addicted to negative patterns and negative thoughts. Like you go shopping, for example, and then you can't find like a certain pair of shoes, and you look for them everywhere and you got really sad, and then suddenly you find the shoes and you're really excited and you get them. I mean, first off, you're like thinking about it for like 5 hours. Are these the right sizes? Anything like that. And the moment you buy those shoes, the only thing you think about is, well, that other store is closed where I wanted to buy a jacket. Like, I personally don't have that kind of thoughts. Like, I have problems in other areas, but this is like what my friend does, and it's really becoming more and more obvious to me, and that there's addiction to it, to being negatively wired towards something. I had that with just thinking I deserve to be treated badly, or that I had to make sure other people feel good and I have to sacrifice myself for it. That was also an addiction. We have to really be aware of those thoughts, not just in general, but also in like comparison or in direction to what kind of effect that has on our life, because it does matter what we think. It's not just like if other people see it. For example, if my friend had that like experience with the shopping, it wouldn't make it any better just because I wouldn't know about it. I mean, yeah, in a way, it wouldn't maybe bother me that much. It wouldn't like really, me as a friend, make me uncomfortable in that situation, but it wouldn't make a difference to her. And it's the same thing with me. Just because certain people don't know what you're thinking about or what you're doing, that you maybe cyber stalk people or get obsessed over people, they may not know it, but you know it. And as long as it's happening in your head, it does have a huge effect on your life and the way everything develops. And we have to really step back and understand, first off, to listen to our thoughts, just to like kind of like acknowledge them, because this is the first step. For example, if you tend to eat out of stress or out of being uncomfortable, whatever, like let's say you have some kind of pattern like this. Like I watched this video like shortly, I don't even know what it was exactly, but they also talked about that you have to really just acknowledge that thought, because you can't win that battle. It's not like you can directly say, well, I'm not gonna have those thoughts and I'm not gonna eat. Because, you know, if one of those sides would have won the battle, they would have won it a long time ago. And when I say one of those sides, I mean like side that actually says, I'm not gonna eat if it's not because I'm hungry, or that side that says, I'm gonna eat whenever I want, I'm just not gonna care. Like both sides are fine and both are much better for you psychologically than always being in this pattern of, oh, should I, shouldn't I, and feel guilty over it. But it happens. It's one of those like really common themes. The first point is just to acknowledge it. Just to acknowledge it and say, well, I eat now because I'm bored, and then eat. Or if you smoke a cigarette and you want to stop, you know, to like make sure, and you say, well, I smoke now because, yeah, I need to relieve myself. I need to get out of the situation and so on. And once you really make that thought conscious in your head, the easier it gets to, like, after times and times, to really make a point and say, well, I don't need that right now. That's not good for me. And I personally have done it with thoughts of being, sacrificing myself, feeling responsible for other people's happiness, feeling responsible for other people's moods and so on, that I had to, like, more and more come to terms that I was doing that because that gave me a meaning in life. I just had to, like, first realize it and then change that. And then, you can really take the next step, which is, like, really controlling what you think, and that you kind of, like, as I said, you take a step back and you watch and you absorb and observe your thoughts, and then you really change them and really make sure, what kind of patterns am I following? And you'll see how much is actually happening without you actually knowing about it. And I think one of the main things you can start with is also this thing of, just because other people don't know it doesn't mean it's not happening. Like, I've done it so often, and, like, to this day, this is an area where I have one of my biggest challenges. It's not like that I really go out and I have, like, those main things that I hide from people or so on, but it's still a battle for me to really make sure that my thoughts really match what I'm living. Like, that's really authentic living, and it's not about, as I said, there are people that don't know what I think or what I do, and it's fine, because that's how I want it to be, due to the way I want to develop at work or something. Like, I don't need people to know everything that goes through my head. That's not the point. But if there's certain things you're embarrassed about but you do otherwise that you wouldn't tell anybody, then it's time to, like, really think about changing those thoughts. Because you can have, like, certain areas where you say, okay, I can tell this to one or two people, and, because they're my closest friends and this is okay, but I just don't want, like, my people at work to know about this. That's okay. But if you have, like, really things that you can't tell anybody, like, those things are really affecting you in a very strong way, because apparently you're that ashamed of them that you don't even want to tell one other person about it. And I think we all have those, and it's like those thoughts that we need to change. And specifically when you think about what the consequences are, because it does affect your life. As I said, if somebody else doesn't know that you're doing it, doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's still affecting the way your thoughts develop. It's affecting how your life turns out. Like, all those things are born out of your mentality. And once you have, like, certain things you always carry with you, there's no chance for you to really develop in a way where these things don't matter. Those things that you think about. And so I really, really try to encourage you to take the time and really make it a priority to, like, kind of, like, let go of those thoughts. And really, the most effective way I have learned is to just observe it and state it. For example, I'm gonna check my ex-boyfriend's Facebook page because I feel like if I don't watch that, then my life is boring, for example. Or, as I said, I try to tell everybody I eat all healthy and stuff, but I eat, like, fries, but I'm so ashamed of it, I don't want to tell anybody, because that would mean that I have no self-discipline. Like, I personally never had, like, food issues like that. I always, like, I eat good and bad all the time. It doesn't really bother me, but I have it in different areas. And I think this is very specific for a lot of people, and specifically when it comes to letting go, like, letting go of worrying about, like, your child when everything is okay just because you need something to obsess over. Or, as I said, you have, like, those, following around what, your ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend is doing, although this has, no benefit to your life. It doesn't bring you anywhere. It just gets you stuck in a certain place. And, those are really good examples where, nobody really is really going to know. It's not like you have, like, external feedback that tells you, oh, this is bad, don't do it. Because very often this helps us to, like, really stop doing those things. But I'm really talking about those things that are just thoughts. Nobody really gives you any feedback on it. Even with my friend with my shoes, it's not like I really yell at her and say, why are you acting like this and stuff. I say it once or twice, but that's it. You know, that's her life, and I just decide for myself, well, I need to, like, this is too much for me. I need to distance myself next time we go shopping. You know, just it's such a, you know, easy example, but the whole point of it is make sure what really is going on in your head, raise the standards, make it a point to raise them, and have that as a thing without even, like, it does not matter if people know it. You have to raise those thought standards for yourself. This is what happened with me for the last years, and it's made a huge difference in my life. And as I said, I still have areas where I'm working on this, but I know the benefit of it. I really do. And so this is why I encourage you to really follow that path and just observe in the beginning. Just observe and ask yourself, why am I doing this? And then do it. Like, don't, you know, what you resist persists. So, you know, do it, but observe it. And by observing it a couple of times and telling yourself, well, I'm doing this right now because I'm bored, or I'm doing this because I think this is the most exciting part of my life, or I do this because, you know, I'm scared of what might happen if I don't control the situation, you know? And once you do that a couple of times, then it's easier to, like, really take a step back and then realize, well, I don't need to have those thoughts. I can change them. And then your life changes. Like, it's the huge catalyst your thoughts are, and it's important for us to really make it a priority what we think, and how we go about that. And it starts with being positive. It starts with, like, leaving things out that are not good for you, and really making sure that it's always about your thoughts, not if other people know about it. So thank you for watching. This is it for today. If you haven't, please subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember that all videos you can listen to as audios when you're on your way out, or, you know, when you're in the subway or anything, and you can find them on SoundCloud, all under Wenzes. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and talk to you next time. Bye.